right. Don. Kathy Kirby.
It's me.
Recording in progress.
Mike.
Recording in
Hey, Tom, you the only one on at the moment?
On. Nope. You probably see the slide
other
the screen
people.
there.
Yep,
We got,
sorry.
Joe, Steve, Tom, John from Open Space. We have Don, Kathy, Mike, Lorraine,
Oh,
and Pam.
yeah.
We just need one more from our crew.
Lorraine Pratt's from the Conservation Commission.
Oh, Lorraine's conservation. Okay.
I'm just on my phone, so I won't be joining video at the moment, okay?
Okay, that's perfect.
Lorraine said she was having trouble, but her name's popped up, so maybe she.
And she's
She's
just
on.
I
muted.
see Pam Titus's name too.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Is Pam open space or is she conservation?
She's open space.
Open space.
She's open
Yeah.
space.
I'm just hiding.
I want to go hide at that beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Bermuda. Beautiful.
Oh,
Oh,
I haven't heard from Charlie. I know Derek and Peter can't be here. I never heard anything from Charlie saying he could not join.
Peter said he was going to try to get on.
Oh, good.
His granddaughter has dance tonight at the high school,
Oh, okay.
formal dance, something like that. Did anybody text Charlie?
If anyone has his phone number, please do. I don't have his phone number.
Either do I. Unless he's working, he's out on a call.
I know. I usually hear from him if he's got something scheduled. John Conway. Let me call John Conway and see if he can join.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, hi.
Can you guys hear me?
Mike, yeah.
Yes, we
can,
can.
okay.
We can.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on a quorum for
Just doing
CPC.
a check. Yep, thank you.
Okay. John went right to voicemail. John Conway.
Um, I'd like to just ask a procedural is, who's supposed to be doing notes or minutes of this meeting?
I will do minutes.
Bless you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Yeah, we're guests of the
Yeah.
CPA.
It is a joint meeting. I do have a procedural. It's we'll
don't-
open our meeting and then you guys will open your
We may
meeting.
not have a quorum.
But yeah, if we don't have a quorum, we'll have to
We need
reschedule.
four to have a quorum.
Oh, for you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have a quorum either right now?
Yeah,
No.
we do.
Oh, do we?
We've got
Okay,
you
we do
and
four.
Pam and Mike and me.
We have four.
Okay. We need
Yeah.
5.
Bad counting.
Well, so let me ask this. This is a posted meeting for us, right, Donald?
I posted it.
So, I mean, if this is,
If you have a separate, you have posted it too, Don?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
I'm inclined to post meetings so that people don't say you didn't do it.
Well, let me look at your agenda because At least you guys could-
Our agenda is referred to your agenda.
That's all
Okay.
right. It just incorporates it by reference. That's fine, I guess. Know that. But yeah.
Steve, those photographs and maps and things I sent, can you get them on screen when we start talking?
yes.
Good, because I wasn't sure I could, so that's why I sent.
I'm not sure about the order, but yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Okay.
So.
Lorraine, did you get on? Just checking.
Yeah, Lorraine's here.
Yeah, she's here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can. Good. Good. Just a message to Lorraine. My clock was wrong. Your computer was right.
Oh,
Okay,
when
that's
did we
good.
lose power here?
Oh, no, I
Just
didn't
came
lose power.
home.
Lorraine was having trouble getting on and she said it's 7 o'clock and she couldn't get on. I hooked up my stove and it was about 5 minutes to 7 and I said, no, the computer's wrong. But my stove's wrong.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I just text Pete. He hasn't responded. Even if he starts the meeting, he can excuse himself, right?
We would have to end the meeting. Once you lose a
Well-
quorum, it's like town meeting. Once you lose a quorum, you have to stop.
Well, if we conduct an open space meeting, everybody can participate, right?
We can
I think
participate as members of the community.
I think you can talk, but you can't make decisions. That's
Yeah,
why.
we couldn't carry on.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay,
So let's give it 5 more minutes if you guys have the patience.
sure.
See if we can get a fifth in, and if not, I can do the regular spiel about being recorded and make an announcement that we can move forward. You guys have your own like small agenda within my agenda. I think that should be sufficient. But Kathy, if that happens, I'd want you guys to take notes and own the notes.
Okay, got it. Let me,
And then for CPC guys, we would have to act as members of the community and not representatives of our board.
And so we'll just give a general report to the community.
Steve, did you try calling the firehouse?
No, I did not.
Anybody know the non-emergency line?
Hold on.
I got it right here.
uh,
781. That would be the business number, right?
Yeah.
781-878-2123.
Pete just texted me back, said give him a minute.
Oh, good. I don't want to bother the firehouse if I don't have to.
good.
While we wait, let's get set up.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
What happened?
I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, thank goodness.
Don, is there any particular order you want me to go through these?
Well, I'm going to follow your order and we'll just talk about update of the McCarthy Farm. And Why don't you show the photographs first? That's been done. We made our,
Well, we gotta wait. We gotta wait.
okay.
More procedural questions is all.
I did. Okay, I can start with this, but that's all, both of these are part about the second half, and that's the acquisition.
So
Okay,
you want me to start with these ones when we're ready?
yeah, the photograph of the parking lot is good, because you can start there.
No.
Okay,
Oh,
Ready?
well,
Give Pete 2 more minutes. And then if not,
It's okay.
we'll announce
It's
no
all right.
quorum and go to open space.
He's asking if you can send him the phone number and the password and all that stuff.
Yep. You just sent it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pete.
Evo, you got me?
Yes, perfect. Welcome,
Thank you.
everyone. The Community Preservation Committee, a joint meeting with the Open Space Committee, Thursday, June 16th. Supposed to start at 7 a.m., calling the meeting to order at 7:16 p.m. Please be advised that this open meeting may be broadcast live and will be recorded by WRPS for playback at www.wrpsrockland.com/TV and youtube.com/WRPSRockland. Can I have a motion to open the CPAC meeting?
Motion. Oh,
Second,
And Joe, Tom, roll call. Steve is an aye. Joe,
aye.
Pete,
Aye.
John,
Aye, sorry.
Tom.
aye.
All right. All right. Don, you want to,
Yeah,
Which one
Open
of your
Space
segment?
Committee has come to order, and I'll do a roll call. And I'll start with myself. Donald Can. Aye. Kathy Kirby.
here,
Michael Bromberg.
Yeah,
Pam Titus.
Here,
And there's one member from the, not from Open Space, but from Conservation. Lorraine Pratt is here. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so.
I don't think so. All right, we're going to jump right into the open space section here. We got a couple of agenda items.
Yeah, I have this thing on my screen that says Zoom chat, the secret keeps your team aligned. How do I get rid of that?
Jeez. You probably should be able to exit out or something, but maybe not the whole Zoom. Or
I'm gonna
click
hit
off of
something
it, click
real
aside from it.
I'm gonna hit the. Oops.
Or hit okay,
We
or
can
got it or
see, we
something.
can see you and hear you just fine, Don.
Hang on. I have all of you as up
Oh.
on my side, it's out of my screen, but I want to get
Yes,
rid
it
of,
should be on the side. That's right. Once someone starts sharing, you go to the side.
just came. I got my technical person here.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
You got it all here.
Can you see
Okay.
my screen?
Yeah, we can see everything.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Can you make that?
Don, I just discovered matches a week ago.
Beggars can't be choosers.
All right. Everybody is a kind of a little postage stamp size right now, and
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
and
Not sure why.
so
No, that's when someone shares their screen, we go over to postage stamp size on the side. That's how
Okay.
that works.
So what I would like to do is talk about what's happening and what has happened for the McCarthy Farm. We had as you may know, there's a June 1st filing, and that was completed successfully. And if you can show the photographs, we can show you some of the things that I've done. I don't know if anybody's passed by or gone up there, but all the buildings are gone except for two that were designated that they were going to stay. One, the little garden shed, which we put tools in. Some of those tools and things have disappeared, but I just hope that they're gone to other departments. But anyway, the garden shed's there, and a small garage type building close to the pond is there. And in the photographs, I show you the parking lot. By the way, without the highway department, we'd be still scrambling to get some things done. The highway department did the parking lot. You can see in the photographs can you display the photographs?
I'm displaying them now.
Okay. The sign was fabricated and designed, and the work of that was done by the two people, Lorraine and Pam, did the work, and the highway department installed it. The buildings are gone, and that landscaping photograph is essentially taken where the barn was. They took the barn out, and then they covered the land. The highway department covered the land with some earth from I call it the dump. It has a different name, but I can't think of that name. Anyway, that earth, that composting earth or whatever, and we'll probably get a crop of interesting weeds out of that.
I'm sure.
The truck, they thought they were going to have to, the truck trailer, to take that apart piece by piece and get it out. But they called some kind of a contractor deals in those things, and they blew up the tires. The tires took the air, and they hooked that little tow truck on the front of it and drove it right out of there. And Mr. Taylor told him to go by Hanson. He was hoping that if anything happened, they would be across this town line. So that was very fortunate that got out. As you know, probably know that the review of the CR has been delayed. Actually, they're doing some of the review now and crossing the T's and doing that stuff. And I can't give you the details of that because I've been away but it's being done with Doug Lapp and Wildlands Trust, Scott, and if they need a lawyer, I'm sure they called Bob in for just to tie up the split hairs.
Just a note on that, Don. We were told by Wildlands Trust during a review session meeting that the preliminary draft was submitted already, so we did meet
That's
our
correct. It was submitted on
requirements by
time.
the state.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We met our requirements by the state for the grant funding.
Yeah. So we met the requirements, and Doug also expressed that he believes because it wasn't our fault, we got everything in on time, that we should get the check, and he believes that the check is going to come soon.
Great.
Any questions about that? Anything? Oh, one more thing, future things. Some things still that we're trying to accomplish is there's a whole bunch of barbed wire and so some debris up on the property. And there's a crew coming in through the highway department this Saturday to tackle that. There's we pretty much know where we want the trail, but we haven't secured a way of making the coordinates and putting it out exactly. We're threading a needle as you go up through there. The private property is on both sides, and we don't want to get too close to any of the private property on our trail. Without a marked trail, people could wander. Which brings us to another point. We're investigating some signs that will say private property, but they'll say it very nicely, and we would put those up where we come close to people's private property. When we figure out the trail, we have to bring the trail to the conservation consultants so that they get an approval through their consultants that we're not in having people go where conservation wise it wouldn't be a good idea to go. So I'll let any member of the open space add to that or make any comments on accomplishments to date.
Sounds good, Donald.
Okay. All right. Without further ado, the next part we have is our what are we looking for in the future? And first of all, I'll let Lorraine has some ideas of future acquisitions through the. We'll all work together, but she's concerned with the conservation considerations. So Lorraine, why don't you speak about the reservoir?
Thank you, Dawn. I would really like to explore the possibilities of any land acquisitions around our reservoir to protect our water supply. And there are grants that we can apply for specifically for that purpose.
Any questions on Lorraine's suggestion?
So we're talking about the Hingham Street water supply?
Yes, yeah. That would involve areas off of Pond Street and Hingham Street. Any areas that we could locate that would be adjacent to our current reservoir.
I'm going to pull up a map here if my Zoom will stop getting in the way. Sometimes helpful for the conversation.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. When I was on the planning board, we often get developments and it would say watershed area, but it seems to me that they built anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, so are we talking about the Accord Pond? Or are we talking about behind the water and sewer?
No, Accord Pond is in Hingham.
Oh, okay.
And our
We're talking like Ben
reservoir
Land.
is behind Hingham Street, behind Home
Okay.
Depot and all that area off of Pond Street.
All right. Get close enough
Actually,
to-
half of Acord Pond is in Rockland. How Hingham got sole control over it, I have never been able to get an answer to, but
Right.
they control it.
It would be interesting to
Yeah,
know.
I think it probably has to do with ancient water rights. In the 19th century, municipalities secured water rights on every body of water that was, and some of the water rights were not close to the municipalities. they would get water rights on small towns, and the small towns would, you'd just see the money part of it. And so those secured water rights are held today.
Yep. I'm gonna pull up the assessors map, which will allow us to get some information about some of these properties, a bit better than Google Maps. So there it is, the Hingham Street Reservoir. You'll be able to see who owns some of this land. Did you have any, Lorraine, do you have any ideas on some parcels that may be good fits for protection?
I haven't explored what parcels might be available. I know there's a large parcel behind Home Depot, but that's where they're trying to put in a housing development, which you might have heard of, Shingle
Oh, yeah,
Mill.
it's this, yeah.
And
Shingle
part of
Mill.
that area is Zone A.
Mhm. Oh, you muted yourself.
Lorraine, people here, that area that you're talking about, wasn't that at one point an old junkyard or something, a car junkyard or something?
Yes, it was behind Home Depot. Yes.
Yeah. So is that going to be any issues if we try to grab it as far as heavy costs to us to have it cleaned? Or?
Right now, that's privately owned, and that's part of the Shingle Mill proposed development.
Right.
Well, was it like a hazardous waste assessment done when the proposal was made? For that
Yeah, I think
development?
so. I think so.
I believe they asked for, what's it called, 21Es to be made on that. It was called Joe Smith's Junkyard, and that's been a thorn in development. Shingle Mill wasn't the first person that figured they could develop on that, but what's under the ground of the old junkyard, I don't think anybody knows.
I know they, at zoning, I listened in and they were talking about drilling wells to see if there are any contaminants.
Chairman, can we make a suggestion that they put a list together of the properties that they talking about trying to obtain for another meeting?
Mm-hmm.
And make that in the form of a motion. How's that?
So we don't need to do a motion on that procedurally.
Okay.
Right now, we're just talking ideas. But yes, if we were, if you guys did want to come to CPC with ideas for, acquisitions, obviously we want to look at parcels. But, taking the time now and I'm clicking through here. So we know Shingle Mill owns 75 Pond. There's another property here, DeLuca Properties owns, that has access off of Hingham Street. Towns of Rockland and Abington, Water Department seem to own a big chunk of land already, immediately surrounding.
They do. It goes from this, that on the town line that's going into Hanover, there's a cemetery.
Yep.
And it goes from the back of the cemetery over towards the rail trail.
Well, down there, right, but we're talking about around the,
That's all water. And if you look at
there's
these,
already some conservation land around here, you have the, that's Hanover. There are some unknown owners, which I think may be a
I'm
good,
going to talk about unknowns not related to water, but we have some unknowns that we're looking at. And are we still discussing, Lorraine, are we still doing the water stuff? Steve?
I think that the next step would be to look at parcels, maybe get a map of the parcels that are around the reservoir and see if they're owned or unowned or what might be available.
yeah. So if for those that don't know, if you go to arcgis.com, arcgis.com, you can zoom. It's really the whole state of Massachusetts. They take all the assessor information and parcel information, and you just click on the different parcels, and it will tell you who the known current owner is. And if you scroll down in the window, you can see, the assessed value, the square footage of the lot, and I'll give you also the book and page from the Registry of Deeds.
Yeah,
which
you
is
have to,
helpful.
in certain cases, check that because I did some parcels in Rockland around the Harmon Golf Course, and they said the owner was the town, no, not the town, the city of Pittsfield, Massachusetts. So in some cases, you really have to double check with the assessors map.
Yeah, you do, and when I see it, it's my first, piece, and then you can go to the assessors map. What is great here is the assessors maps don't give you the book and page from the registry.
That's right. The
You can
information
cross-reference.
they give on that, what you referred to is very good in regard to all those other things on it. Okay.
Well, also, what you might not be aware of is that on the other side of Hingham Street, we also have streams, little brooks and things that feed our reservoir. And there are some properties over there that are vacant, and I don't know who owns them.
Yeah, on the other side, there are a lot of landlocked properties. The town owns a bit of a conservation area. There are some over here in between VFW and Hingham Street, some smaller parcels that are, mostly wetland. There are, very small streams that it's almost tough to decipher unless you're walking the spaces. But I know, what is that, Glendale? I don't know the name of the development, but it's, Midfield, Von Rohr, Midfield Drive, Northfield Drive. It's a condo community off of Hingham Street. They own a ton of that land, but it's all really undevelopable. And from what we understand, they don't have any plans to continue development out there.
Steve,
almost
I'm
like-
kind of losing your audio here.
Oh, are you? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. You know what? Let me take my, I'll switch to my speakers. I put you in my earbuds, and it may be losing battery, so. All right, can you guys hear me now?
oh God, yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
Good.
you're very loud and clear.
All right, I'll tone it down then. So yeah, that if you can see the screen, that condo community owns a huge chunk of that land, which is really undevelopable. I don't think they have any plans or would even get approval to develop more. There are these parcels here that are owned by multiple different owners that feed right back down into the Hearts of Park area, which the town now, this is the original Hearts of Park. Town bought this property here. And so other opportunities, what I would love to see in the future is to connect to the John Smith Conservation Area eventually, and so that it's all one big park. But yeah, I think, anything we can do to protect our waterways from further development, ideal. Any other conversation around, the Hingham Street watershed?
I just have a question. An issue came up, and this is several years ago now, that when some development was being done in the area, and I don't know if it was when Blue Cross was being developed or something else, that there was a change in the designation of the watershed in that area. I have no detailed memory of this, but I don't know if that's so.
That's before my time.
I can't remember. There's land and rock and going, parts of it go into one watershed and the parts of it go into another watershed. Michael knows something about that from the base.
Well, that whole area goes into Hannigan Reservoir, so.
Yeah, it's very clear. You can see it's blue water to stream right down to Benman Brook, which goes right into the Hingham Street Reservoir.
There's actually 3 watersheds in Rockland, but that whole area just goes to a Rockland Reservoir, so.
Thank you.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah, you have that one. You have the French's Stream, which goes out to North River Watershed. What's the third one?
I believe there's one that goes, you get the, geez, I'm not, I don't know. There's Taunton River, there's North River, and then there's this one here that, I don't know what they're calling this watershed, to be honest with you. For the
I
reservoir.
think I know what you're talking about. So it would be west of French's Stream, west of Reed's Pond, but that goes, yeah, you're right. That goes in probably the pond in Abington there, which then I think that one flows out to
Thompson's Pond?
Is that what it is? Yeah, all good areas to protect for conservation and, with CPA funds, another source of revenue for those acquisitions. So happy to entertain any, speak for myself, but I think the board too. And I say happy to entertain any land purchases.
Could I just ask a general question? I know you guys are excellent and generous and helped us out with the, worked with us on the farm, but didn't we use mostly open space funding for that farm? Just curious, like what's
Yeah.
the parcels we should be entertaining here,
For that year, yes, but every year we get more money. And it accrues if we don't use it. There's a bucket for open space, a bucket for housing, a bucket for historical, and then the biggest bucket is our discretion.
So you can move, in other words, you could move money from one bucket to the other bucket, depending on what's before you. Is that correct?
From discretionary funds, yes, but not, we can't move things out of housing to open space. That has to stay housing.
Okay. Are you ready for me for our open space stuff?
Yeah, just a point of note there, Don, when we go through this, Joe is going to talk about a piece of land. Joe, I didn't have time to update the agenda and add it as its own light item, so we can talk about it here. It's another land, possible land. Talk about. So why don't we let open space go first?
Steve, you're breaking up again.
Sorry. Am I better now?
Yeah, it seemed like you were turning your head to the.
That's probably it. The microphone. That's why I like my earbuds, but if they're not working, I'll try to focus in here. But yeah, let's let open space go through the rest of their ideas, and then let's give Joe an opportunity to talk about his idea.
Is Joe going first?
No, Don, I want you guys to continue to go.
Steve, can you put up that map and that other that cover sheet that I sent? And we can talk about a bit of open space.
This one here, the agricultural preservation.
Yeah, you can put that up. That's
This is the Beach Street area with the
it's
McCarthy farm highlighted.
Yeah, it shows the McCarthy. The map, it shows the McCarthy farm and it goes up along the Whitman Abington border.
Yeah.
I think that's a westerly direction.
I have it up now.
Okay.
I know why I'm going in and out. My laptop's not plugged in. So it's trying to conserve power. All right. Should be back in it. So Don, what are we looking at here? I get the beach.
I don't see it. I don't have it on my screen, so
okay.
I can't tell you.
If you want to pull, I don't know if you want to, you can maybe pull it up separately, but I could talk through it. It's highlighting the McCarthy farm, the Rockland Conservation Area behind.
If you tell me what's up, I can talk about it.
Yeah, it's a plot plan. You have some labels on it. You have some private acreage that you've listed.
Okay, it's the map, and you can see the McCarthy farm in the just in the center section of the lower part, then the bottom part is the town of Hanson.
Hmm.
So all the properties that are up in the near bottom are marked. You can see that we own a conservation. I don't think it's actually put in conservation, but there's a 10-acre lot abuts it abuts three places. Actually, it abuts the town of Hanson, and it has a long border with Whitman and a long border with the McCarthy Farm. That's already in the inventory of the town. If you look just above it, you see a little road like thing. And I was told that when the McCarthys first bought what was known as the Brickyard, there was no entrance on the Rockland side. They entered their property from Whitman, and that's probably where they entered the property. And above it is 12.3 acres of private. I think that has high priority and what we'd like to get.
Steve, can you point on the map where he's talking about?
Right here. So you get the 10 acres. So McCarthy Farm's here, 10 acres behind it that we already own. Above that, there's that road you talked about. And then you have the private acreage, which is north of.
And we'll start that out by writing a letter to the owner. We put a lot of this stuff off because the McCarthy Farm was occupied every minute of our time on this. And so it's, I told you a few things we have to complete, but it's now the time to look. Then above that is the Whitman area, and it says it's 40 acres. It's in Rockland. And when we were scouting out for bounds and trails, it seems this is a trail that goes into that land, and it might have been part of the trails that the Yule family set up for the at the water department.
You know, Girl Scout camp.
Yep, it's an old Girl Scout camp. It's not controlled by conservation in Whitman. It's actually controlled by the Board of Selectmen, and the deed was given that it was forever to be used for recreation. So I think we probably should have a little discussion with Whitman. And I know for a long time we weren't collecting taxes on it, but during the time of Mr. Chaka, Whitman is now paying taxes on it. And above there, you see 23 acres, and I believe that's part of the condominium in PUD, the standpipe condominiums, because and I believe they own it, and that area is all the PUDs, as I understand it, when they put the acreage aside, the public has access. So we're going to try to get our trail in through there, and then we're going to pick all these other things as we come. But I want you to go to the upper left where you see that large green section, which is conservation. And you can see that it touches conservation land in the town of Whitman. And on top of it, you can see three triangles to the left on the Abington. Now we're at Abington Rockland line. And those are owner unknown. And Michael has been talking to the assessors to see if we can get the town of Rockland has held them for decades, but has done no legal work on them. And we'd like to get all of those into the open space inventory, and then work with all the neighbors to see what we can get as deeded land into open space, or some kind of an agreement where we can have a trail. And this goes all the way up to Summer Street. And then there's a couple of condominiums there, Willow Pond, for instance. And they're supposed to follow those ideas of the reserve space is supposed to be open to the public. So that's one of our main goals. And I have a goal, it's a leftover from the 1990 master plan, which established the open space committee, is we suggested that the town sometime acquire the parking lot of the Baptist church. And I know that the church communities in town suffering and congregation wise. And I would like to approach them if they ever go out of business, that that piece, that's parking lot, might make a nice common.
Where is the Baptist church?
The
Oh,
Baptist,
up on Beach Hill?
no, the Baptist church is right down on Union Street. It's, well, the
The
property
left
is next
of
to
town hall.
Oh, okay.
Union and Linden Street.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I would like to, you know, at least have a meeting and let them know if they ever go out of business, that the Open Space Committee, this might be passive, active, because if you put a comment in there, you could have your sales, you know, farmers sales, that type of thing, demonstrations, maybe even a bandstand. So those are the current things that we're working on. Now, if you could show that cover of the agricultural program.
Can we go back to that one parcel that was
Which parcel?
Whitman's conservation land? That's
Yep.
Yeah.
more than 3/4 of it's in Rockland.
That's right.
How is that Whitman's conservation land? It should be only that little section.
Oh,
It's not conservation land. I have background if you want, Don.
It's not technically conservation land. It's recreational land. And one time there was a Girl Scout camp on there, but the Girl Scouts evidently didn't own the land. They were using it with permission of the owner. The Girl Scout camp went out of business, and the owner decided to give the land to the town of Whitman, and they accepted it. And in the deed, it says forever use for recreation.
Yeah, but I'm scratching my head. Most of it's in Rockland. How did that happen?
That's where the guy owned the land. I mean, it's not a unique case. That farm in Rock and Abington that abuts the rail trail, and it abuts the golf course. Part of that, it happens to be in Rockland.
Oh, Griffin's Farm?
Yep. The old dairy farm.
Wow.
And the town of Hanover, by acquiring open space, acquired some parcels, so their open space that happened to be in Rockland.
Thank you.
In fact, we talked to, it seems like decades and decades ago, we talked to them about, you know, their ability to have the trails in that area. It's quite wet, and we never concluded, but Hanover Open Space owns a bit of land in Rockland.
Okay, thank you.
Another point on that Whitman Girl Scout camp. In that deed, when they donated it to the town of Whitman, it has to, I forget the name, but it has to be called, you know, something camp. It's someone's name.
It has that name, and I can't recall it this moment either. But I mean, it seems to me they're stuck with it. In a sense, I don't mean in a bad sense, but they can't. They accepted it, and they have to keep it under the provisions of the. And I don't care what they call it. We get. I mean, we're calling our piece of land the McCarthy Farm. They can call their piece of land after the Girl Scout camp. But it will sum up the corridor, and as you see on the map, they do have some conservation land that abuts our conservation land. Actually, Abington has a little triangle that abuts ours, but Abington has been in the business of selling off some land, so I don't know what the status of that particular piece is.
So once it's deemed conservation land, they don't pay taxes?
Well,
true?
maybe, you know, we're gonna eventually have a meeting with Whitman and probably have a meeting with Hanover, because they have a large parcel that abuts it's undeveloped parcel that maybe that at the bottom you can see it's 43 acres. And it has frontage, but it has a power line in it, and it has a lot of water in it. So it's wet, but we'll probably, when we were getting endorsements from for the grant, we got an endorsement from the Hanson Conservation Commission, and I brought that up. So it may mean some more conversation. If they could get that, then we have a nice corridor right into Hanson, but that's, you know, part of our overall goal is to connect with our neighboring communities. And the rail trail is a giant example of that. And it's and the trails in the base are likewise examples of connecting with our neighboring communities. Any questions on those concepts, ideas, or comments? Anybody from the Open Space Committee or Lorraine? Any questions or comments?
Don, I have a question about these parcels that, I'm going to say this wrong, I know, but they were years ago meant to be conservation properties, but never got recorded properly.
No, they weren't meant to, most of them weren't meant to be conservation things. They were just taken as tax titles.
Okay, but the titles weren't recorded properly, is that it?
Michael can shed light on it. He's done some research on some of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure what properties you're talking specifically, Kathy, but there's a handful of properties that were voted on to be conservation land at town meetings over the last many 25 years or so. And the town attorneys, for some reason or other, never transferred it over to the Conservation Commission, but there were official votes at town meeting that we voted to put them into conservation. I'll give you an example, like I think there's 4 acres Channing Church owned between Union Street and Greenwood Street. There's acres up, you know, on this map up by the Abington Rockland line that was supposed to go to conservation. So there's a bunch of them. Doug's aware of it, and it's, you know, at some point we'll sit down and try to push to, you know, have them deeded properly, because the town voted on them. The assessor's aware of it, and the assessor basically says nobody can do anything with the land right now until this legal work is done, you know. So
what I'm wondering is, I mean, I know we have land use council, but if this is something like a separate fee, can CPA funds be used for those fees, or that's not a proper use of the money?
Only if we are looking to acquire the land can we spend administrative funds. That's our fourth bucket is administrative funds. But we can only spend that if we're investigating an acquisition of land. But if the town already owns it, I don't think we can. Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Oh, speaking of that, and Michael, during the process of talking to the developer of the McCarthy farm before we exercised our right of first refusal, he offered free to the town some land up by Hartsup Park, and we never did anything with that because it kind of put us in a funny position. And so, but his offer may still be valid. And Michael knows something. Michael is the one who talked to the developer about that.
right. So it would have been awkward for open space to be dealing with the developer of the farm. At that time, he offered some land. He said it has nothing to do with the farm, but it still didn't it wouldn't look correct. So I gave, after the farm was purchased, I gave all that information to Gene Blaney. It's a 4.9 acre lot, I think, and it's right in Hassel Park. And it's a long, narrow strip of land. And I'm not sure. That was many months ago, six months ago or so. So I'm not sure what conversations he's had with Tom Hastings on that.
What farm are we talking about?
McCarthy Farm. But why
No, near Hearts of Park.
Oh, we're talking
Right,
about
it
Hearts
was
of Park.
the
The land
developer-
that was offered is near Hearts of Park.
Yeah.
Steve, I can help out on this one.
Okay.
Gene turned that over to me and Pete, and we've been sitting on it. Pete hasn't had time to get up to Doug's office to have him research it. Pete had called the trust, and the woman said, yes, it's available, make an offer. So I know CPA says that we have to have it appraised, but if they're willing to take an offer, I think that's in Doug's court. Right now, Pete has it, and we haven't presented it to Doug yet.
Joe, we may be talking about two different pieces because Mr. Hastings said he owned it and he was going to give it.
Well, if it's the one Mike's talking about that he gave to Gene, this was in a trust fund. If you can pull up the map, Steve,
Yeah.
at Hearts Park.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you're pretty close. You're not on it, though. I think you got it. Can you move it up a little bit?
so it's north of Hartsuff?
No, I'm sorry, south of Hassel.
It connects to the Robbins property up on the hill there.
Okay. This is Robbins. There's a hill.
I'm not on the map. Where's the hill?
I don't have the map with me, but I can explain that when Tom said he would give us the 5 acres there, I did look it up, and it was under a woman's name. It wasn't under Tom Hastings' name, so I didn't know if it was a ex-wife, girlfriend, or whatever. I wasn't sure, but it was. He was offering it for no charge at that time. So under the circumstances where we purchased the farm, maybe he wants to charge for that land now.
It was under, I want to say Kathleen Realty or something like that was the lady I spoke with. Originally, Gene told me they wanted to donate it like you're talking about. And then when I talked with this lady, she said, no, make me an offer.
Right.
And we left off. I've got the specs on it, and we were going to go up to Doug. And at that point, we were just scrambling, or Doug was scrambling, getting ready for town meeting. And that was kind of the end of that at the time.
Yep.
And he was dealing with the farm, trying to get that paperwork all done. So we didn't want to give it to him and overwhelm him.
Right,
We understand that.
yeah.
All right. I'll just make it a note that you're waiting to meet with Doug to have a conversation.
Maybe sometime me and Mike can get together and Pete, and we'll go over the piece of paperwork that we got and make sure it's the same parcel that we're talking about.
Sure.
It is.
Go with me. Yep.
And unless anybody else has ideas of acquiring land, the last thing I have is the agricultural program that, and this is in regard to the Del Preet farm being the only farm left.
Yeah, we can.
If you can put that up on the screen.
Yeah.
This
Just
is
taking a note.
okay.
Donald, I have a question
Sure.
before you start. On these properties where they got the tax exempt, whatever it's called, where the town has first refusal, is that documented somewhere where once that property goes up for sale, a flag pops up or anything like that?
Well, let me tell you about two properties, the McCarthy Farm being one and the golf course being the other. They were under the same chapter 61. One was A, the first one was A, the agricultural one's A, and recreational one's a B. If they accept the program, then they have to go first refusal as a town. In both cases, they had P&S on the land before they even approached the town. So they were ready to develop. And then when the town caught on to it, we eventually, in both cases, we exercised our rights. The golf course took a court case to settle all that, and it was in land court, and they settled in the town's favor. It was an expensive court case. The town didn't have to pay for it because we had somebody stand in for the town, and that was called the Trust for Public Lands. They stood in and acted in behalf of the town, and they ended up owning the property with all the restrictions on it, the CRs and everything else.
That was 61B for the golf course.
61B at the golf course.
So how does,
And
if we didn't catch the farm being up for sale,
in
how
both
does-
cases, we were the last to know, I would say.
so why aren't we the first to know? Why isn't there a procedure where a red flag pops up and tells us that
Yeah,
property?
I really can't answer that. I agree. It should be. It may be someplace in the chapter that, in the state law, but they couldn't proceed to develop unless they first approached the town. In the case of the golf course, they offered the town, I think, $100,000 and something, in the town by that time was determined that we were going to go after it. The trust had the means to do that, even the law firm to do that. And the model that the Trust for Public Lands is a simple model. They will buy land for conservation. They will hold on to it, and then they will sell it to either a trust or somebody else. In this case, they sold it to, they operated the golf course for I think 10 or 12 years, and then they sold it to the current owner. The town has the CR in this case. The town has the CR, and the land can be used for recreation purposes. If let's say that the golf business goes flat and they abandon it, the only thing it can be used for is a golf course or trees. I guess they can grow trees there, but they can't. Any of that land that is under the CR. No, not so that you know everything. Part of that land is not under the CR, like where the parking lot is, where the clubhouse is, and a little bit along where the practice thing is not on the CR because they said that it didn't count. Anyway, so they could probably come in and develop it would be very complicated because they couldn't develop any of the greens, but they could probably develop the parking lot. But if they had the greens and a development, they wouldn't have any place for anybody to park. So I don't know if it could be done. But I agree with you. Red flag or something should go right to the town first before a developer is there. In the case of the McCarthy Farm, we had to match the P&S price. If we got it first, we would have our consultants, value the property, and that would be the price. But as far as I know, we came in after they already made a deal, but they still had to come to the town because that's the law. Kathy,
Well,
can you add anything to that?
when they went into the agreement of not paying taxes going that route, is there a contract that was signed that they have to contact us before they sell it? And are they in violation if they don't?
It's not a contract, Joe. It's a state law that requires it when they filed the 61B. That's the point where that was essentially agreed upon. The issue is it doesn't go, there's no government, red flag that would pop up until really the only time you could catch that is when it goes to the registry of deeds. And all they're going to do is file it. They don't go through the due diligence. The attorneys are supposed to go through the due diligence. So they're hoping really no one notices.
Well, and you raise a very interesting point, because in the particular case of McCarthy Farm, the original purchase and sale agreement was executed in December of 21 and
20.
no, 20. I'm sorry, December of 20. And we didn't get notice until the middle of March that this was happening. And of course, that has an effect on deadlines for applying for grants and doing a whole lot of other things. And it was pretty tight there. There was an extension of time because of COVID. Certain things that municipalities were required to do were suspended. But it wasn't for long. And the emergency provision, the state emergency order, I think that was June of 21 that lapsed. So yeah, it creates a problem. I would have to look at the statute again to see if there's actually a time period, but I don't think there is. So you can do that.
The clock runs after they notify.
Oh, after they notify us, yeah, but
They don't have a clock. They do not have a clock.
From the signing of the purchase and sale agreement, I don't think it specifies the statute that the town has to be immediately notified.
Donald,
Yes.
Donald, could you touch base with our senator and see if he can clean that up where a red flag comes up to the town?
Yeah, I'll call Senator Keating's office and see what he can tell us.
Because the developers have their lawyers working on this stuff, and they know the guidelines, how long things take, and we can get passed over by timelines.
But as far as I know, Joe, we only have one left. That's the Del Preet Farm.
Well, I have one that I'm questioning on Plain Street. The little 411.
Yep. But I thought that was going into development that the town didn't exercise their option on it.
No, he hasn't sold it. It's been in the family for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a little nursery there.
Yeah.
I'm not positive he took advantage of the tax thing with the state.
Yeah.
But assuming he did. Because we missed out on the one on Spring Street across from the ball fields because we didn't have CPA funds. That gentleman, I remember coming up to the selectmen telling him he was selling his nursery there, and the town refused to buy it. He did the right thing, and then he turned it into that beautiful development there.
I think it's one of the most beautiful. It ranks in the most beautiful neighborhoods in the town. He did a nice job. Magnolia Drive, is it?
Something like that, right across from
Magnolia
the
Drive. There's two streets in there. Yeah, I've when we were putting out flyers to notify the requirement of the grant of our public meeting, I brought flyers all to all the mailboxes in that development, amongst others.
All right, thank you.
Okay, if you put the agricultural thing up, and I'll talk about that. And is it up? I can't see. So
Is the
Yes,
cover
it is.
page for agricultural? preservation?
Yeah, it's APR program guide.
Yep.
Okay. This is something that Scott at Wildlands passed on to us, and if you want a copy, it's that you can get one through the selectman's office. When I had it copied, Doug put it in the computer as well. Briefly, it's a program that offers funding to farmers through two grants, I believe, one state, one federal. And if they take the money and into the program, they can sell the farm for anything they want afterwards. But the farm has to, and it may not be anything they want because they've devalued the property as for development, because the program insists that land forever will be agriculture. And the land doesn't get turned over to the town for any purpose, but stays as a farm. It's a program to prevent farms from being developed. And Scott thought it was a good program, and I don't think we made any formal decision on it, but there was no negative conversation about it at a open space committee. So I'm going to send it to the owners with the permission of the open space committee, and let them do it. In the text of inside the booklet, it says that the farmer should not come to a decision easily, should consult his lawyers and everybody else. But anyway, I just wanted to bring it up and let you know about it. And if you want to read through a copy, you can get one through Doug's office. The Del Prete farm is another, jewel in the crown of open/agricultural space in the town of Rockland. And the last thing we want to see is it developed into commercially in any way. And that's all I have. I have one announcement. E-Awakening is a conservation.
Well, before we go on to that, Don, Joe has something for this item.
Okay.
You want to read my application, or you just?
I do. So Joe has a draft application he dropped off with me for my input. I had some family things come up and didn't have time to give him my feedback, but I will read through it. So it's a draft pre-app for
Up against.
draft pre-application. Going to be project sponsor will be Park Commission. Contact is Joe. We need an appraisal for the funding request, and it's a time-sensitive request, and it's Cary Street, Lot 1. It used to be that, what was that, an auto body junkyard or something?
No, it was just old farmhouse.
Old farmhouse.
Yes, that they ended up having car repairs there and stuff like that.
So a realtor has bought that land and has subdivided it. And so we're looking at a 1 acre parcel that surrounds a house next to the power lines on the west side of the road. And does connect to existing town land, which that town land connects to the Major Edward P. Reed Park. If you're on Google Maps, it says Edward Reed Conservation, but Joe and I did some digging, and it's actually it's parkland, and not conservation. And so we would like to. I think Joe wants to expand that space. The brief description: Lot 1 for sale on Cary Street, 43,604 square feet, 1 acre, all upland connecting to parcel. It's parcel 44-88. Deed is book 3776, page 725, plus lot number 38-140, 3.08 acres. And that, I think that connects to Major Reed Park, Joe, right? That's not actually Major Reed Park.
Correct.
Major Reed Park then connects to that land. Requested amount unknown to appraise. Matching funds unknown. Total project cost is unknown. Estimated timeline, sensitive timeline with real estate and landowner. Summarize how this benefits the town. By buying this property, we'll access 2 parcels of land owned by the town to create new park expansion for the youth of Rockland High School and the general public. Other comments? By buying this property, we'll give the town more access to a new track and a new field of use for major needs by taking advantage of CPA funds to create new areas for the park without raising taxes.
So my thought on this process, and Steve kind of gave me the idea, we've been struggling for 20 years now to get a track in town. And as you know, the old track is pretty well had it. And when that was built, all that debris was from when they were putting in the sewer lines, all the ledge and all that stuff was dumped on that property and filled in. And a lot of that stuff is working to the surface, or the surface is working down, whatever way you want to look at it. So there was about 3 years ago, we got a price on the track being done over. Dr. Rogers, me, and John, Big John, and it was $750 to $1 million. So for a track to be put where it is now, it's probably going to be close to $1 million, $1.3 million, somewhere around there. I'm guessing. I'm not sure. But my thought here is Major Reed Park. We always thought that it was under conservation. As we did a lot of research, it is definitely deemed to the park, Forest Park. Back in 1917, whatever they thought a park was, what we think a park is today, is 2 different things. So my thinking, and several other people are thinking, using CPA funds to accomplish getting a state-of-the-art track in, so these kids have a track for track meets and a nice track for the townspeople. For 20 years, we haven't been able to be funded, the park commissioners, to put a track, to fix the track. So thinking about it, why not go this route, and it all can be funded by CPA on this whole project. And the existing track be used for whatever need that we need in sports. It could be girls softball fields, could be another lacrosse field, soccer field, whatever the major use and need is, that's where we probably would go. So the park commissioners took a vote to proceed on going after this parcel of land to connect the dots to those other 2 parcels to make a park in Major Reed's name, which is way overdue. That was the only thing in the agreement, that they wanted his name on the park and his wife's name, which I just reread today. That was the condition of us getting that parcel of land. So it's a sensitive situation with the owner and real estate. They already changed the lots, so it would connect to the property where we had better access. The first diagram, we would have had to get an easement to get to the 4 acres that the town owns. So now he refigured it so we can connect completely to all 3 properties. So that's all I have.
I'm gonna see if I can get that over to my Gmail, Joe, so I can pull it up. Give me a second.
Joe, I just kind of want to retract something, if I could, from your statement. The bicentennial track, that I don't know what you're saying about sewer pipes or whatever being buried over there. That's all ledge over there. That's what keeps coming up is rock. They had to blast a lot after they de-wooded the area, and it's ledge that keeps coming up and popping through the track. I never heard of
No,
anything as long as I've been down.
No,
about
Pete,
burying pipe.
Pete, nope, not pipe. When the town was digging, putting in sewer lines in town, when we first started putting the sewer lines in town, the whole town, they were blasting
Right.
ledge. And that was the dump site. That used to be kind of like wetlands. We had a tree house out there. It was a swamp way back when. The same
You're talking
First-
about Centennial Track.
Yes, the same person that owns the property, well, used to own the property on Carey Street, Mr. Mahoney. He owned all that property there, and he owned the property over at Bicentennial. And he was related, he was the grandfather of people I hung around with. And we used to hang out there, and that was kind of all wetland, and that's where all the debris was dumped. And the Pony League field was dumped, all the extra dirt and rock and all that stuff was put in those areas. It was before you were born.
I know that. Well, most of this stuff was before I was born, but I disagree with that because we went through a whole hoo-ha about 10 years back when somebody, the AD over at the school, mentioned something about out behind the Pony League field behind Memorial School, that there was a bunch of debris and toxic and everything else came up. And it was
No,
proven wrong.
I'm not saying that. This is rock and dirt, Pete. That's all I'm talking about. No hazardous waste, nothing like that.
Well,
Rock and dirt.
that's what I'm trying to get you to say, because we don't want to go there again. That's what happened before. There was a couple of words that were mentioned and that was not true, and that's why I wanted you to clarify, and you just did. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just ledge that was blown up when they were putting in the pipes in town for sewage, and all the debris
Right.
from was dumped there. That's all that was dumped there. It was legally done. It was approved, all that stuff. Nothing hazardous.
Thank you. I just want you to clarify that because I don't want to go through that again.
Correct.
I am displaying the, one of the draft, subdivisions. There is an easement, with Edison, Brockton Edison. I love that that's still the name of the easement. That runs from runs across Carey Street, back of Bicentennial, all the way down Plain Street, across to Plain Street. You can see that it kind of surrounds that one house that exists there. There's you can see the old house that was there on that lot, on the highlighted lot. But that would connect to that recreation land back there. It would also give utility that exists in the ground on that lot. Any other comments on this? We're not going to take a motion on it because the application is not finished, and that's my fault. We can take a vote next month to move forward with pre-application. But any other thoughts, good or bad, on this?
Just a question, Joe, was that all developable land right now?
Yes, it is. It's broken up into 3 lots, 2 house lots and 1 duplex. If he sells the 3 lots, that's the game plan. That's his goal. But he's already been offered by a developer to buy the whole thing, and we all know what that means.
We do. All right, thank you.
That's 10 units per acre. So that's 40 Bs.
Just speaking, this is Peter, just speaking in behalf of the park. I mean, fields are needed desperately. Walking trails, the whole 9 yards, but we've got some land, Carthy Farm now, Hudson Park. But we've been lacking fields in this town for as long as I've been working for the town. And this is a much needed, we need it. We need it in a big way. I mean, every field I've got is a combination field, meaning In the spring, it's a baseball field. In the fall, it's a soccer/football/lacrosse field. And our fields don't have time to recoup when we're turning them over and 2 weeks later, there's another sport on them. So, I mean, I am totally all for it. I'm totally all for picking up land regardless, but we have a lack of fields in this town. We always have. And this is number one in my books, because all they care about is the kids in the fields.
They're using
That's all
the
I got.
space on Spring Street, the space in between the ball fields for lacrosse practice now.
Yeah, we've got no land for the kids for fields.
So the Jefferson School, is it Jefferson on Market Street?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna pick up it there, but even picking up that chunk, it's gonna enable us to put in maybe a couple of softball fields or little league fields, or maybe one football/lacrosse/soccer field. But we don't know the total footage as far as how much parking we'll have along with that field. So and even given that, we're still down a field, the oval, where the new elementary school is built right now. I mean, we lost, that was a combination field. That was a two softball fields /lacrosse/youth football. I mean, we still need the fields, even if we gain a couple of fields at Jefferson, whether it be, I don't care what sport it is, we still need more fields. I'd rather see the kids outside than inside on the TV, on the computers.
On that Jefferson lot, it says, I forget what the acreage is, but the usable acreage is very small. You know, when we did the land swap for the new elementary school, we didn't get the best part of the deal. So saying that, Jefferson is going to be a very tight area for what is going to be used for. The parking lot's very small. You might need part of that parking lot for putting in a new football field, lacrosse field, soccer field, whatever goes in there. It's a very tight area. I'm assuming people are going to end up being parking on the streets. The neighbors probably aren't going to like it, but it is what it is. It's a done deal, and we got to live with the way the situation went down.
Yeah. Point
Joe, I
being,
think
Jefferson-
this is Don Can. I think some Jefferson schoolyard slopes into wetland too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, behind the dentist office, it's probably 1.5 acres, maybe 2 acres. That is all wetlands. So when people see that we got all this acreage, only the usable part.
Point being, Jefferson School is going to help, but it's not going to solve the problem. And purchasing this land off of Carey Street is going to help the problem.
And it's going to be close to the school. That's the theme right now. You know, when people did the middle school and the high school and the elementary schools, they wanted to have everything coming down like a campus. So the idea is now to develop around the school so it's easy access. If you notice, when we did the elementary school, the new one, we took away fields for gym. A 7-year-old girl told us after the fact, do you people realize there's no place for gym anymore? And the only place left is the stadium, and that's going to get ruined if we use that for gym class all the time.
Yeah. Wow.
So a 7-year-old brought that up to us.
We're going to have 3 elementary schools down there that have literally they have some space, but not a lot of space to have their recess and or gym classes, like Joe said. Right now, they come out in the stadium, like Joe said. Memorial Park goes out behind the school for some recess class and bicentennial. And that's pretty much it. That oval, you know, beat up in the way it was still a very usable area that we needed for the kids, but the park commission also totally understood why we need new elementary schools. You know, Memorial Park is in rough shape, and Jefferson School as well. So we got it, you know, we get it, but at the same time, like Joe said, this 7-year-old girl mentioned something to us about there's no place for recess or gym anymore. This is going to help that situation, the lot off of Carey Street.
Any other comments on it, on the Carey Street idea?
Just one quick question on that. Will that be all artificial turf?
Where?
This Carey Street.
I'm not proposing a turf, I'm just proposing a track. Track could be a rubber track. That's up to the townspeople if they want to put a turf field in the middle as another use. It's a good idea. I'm not a big fan of turf, but it's not a bad idea neither.
If it's funded by CPA, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought under their guidelines, we can't use synthetic turf. Got to be natural, correct?
That's if it's conservation. So Wildlands Trust has that restriction. I'm not sure about CPA rules.
Yeah,
but we can look more into that. I mean, the first piece would be to acquire this land, and then there would be further pieces of, you know, getting a developer to, what do they call those? A landscape architect to essentially design where things could go with these parcels.
Excuse me, Steve. Like I said to the commissioners, this opportunity only comes up once. Once it's built on, the opportunity's gone on having it for parkland. So this is an opportunity. The owner is very motivated to sell us this parcel because he likes the idea. And he grew up in this area, he grew up with me, and we hung out in this area. This was our old stomping grounds. And he's 100% in favor. Steve was at the meeting with me at the real estate office, and Steve can contest to what he said. So this is an opportunity for the town to think ahead instead of reacting, be proactive. And, you know, we don't have to do it right away. I'm not saying build it tomorrow. Let's get this parcel, a piece of the puzzle, and then as we figure things out, architect design, board testing, all that crap, to see if this is doable, then we go forward with putting in the track, another ball field, possibly parking, and go from there. And that's why the commissioners voted the way they did.
John, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say about the turf. Obviously recreational. I don't think there's a turf limit there, but like Joe was saying, you know, we'd have to actually come up with a good plan anyway. So first step is to get the land.
Joe, you and I will talk more just to get this draft all lined up and get it signed and officially submitted, and maybe we can take a vote on it next month's meeting. But may be appropriate to start socializing with Board of Selectmen and Town Administration.
Yep.
By the way, we could have had the whole 4.5 acres for 300,000 way back when, but I was told to tap the brakes on this parcel of land. And the reason why, I don't want to discuss on the air, but it was false. So the town could have bought this for 300,000, the whole 3 lots. But now this owner, he's taken down the building, cleaned up all the hazardous spots of oil changing and stuff like that was illegally done, but it was only minor stuff, what I understand, and got rid of all the fill and the rocks that were brought in. So he spent a lot of money doing that. So
Any more discussion of Cary Street? All right, Don, I'm going to turn it back to you. You had one more item.
Yeah, just one more item. E-Awakening is an Abington organization, and they do environmental documentaries. They did one on the rail trail before we had the rail trail. But so they're going to organize a walk June 24th at 2 p.m. up into the McCarthy farm, and it's going to be filmed, and it will be on E-Awakening with all their other things. It's not a bad idea to just check out the site. And the person, Dan Brillman, and his wife, they're neighbors, and they're really into conservation.
June 24th.
It's the 24th at 2 p.m. and we'll meet in the parking lot at McCarthy Farm. And that's all I have.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
So yes,
Donald, in your committee in conservation, I'd like to thank you for cooperating with CPA. I think it's been a great working commitment, and I think the sky's the limit on doing this stuff for the town.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
I think Joe speaks for all of us with that statement.
So, the Open Space Committee, I think our meeting is over.
You can motion to adjourn and
Motion to adjourn.
hang out if you want. We got a couple more
Kathy,
things to go through.
yes. Donald, yes. George, yes.
I'm fine.
Mike, yes. We're out.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
you all.
Feel free to hang out, guys, if you want, citizens, but otherwise enjoy your night.
You too.
Thank you. All right, next one. I'm going to try to go faster with these because it's getting late, guys. Meeting minutes, another month. I got to pass over again. If you guys will entertain that.
Motion to pass over minutes.
Second.
I am going to have I know we had a vote last summer about getting a secretary to help with this stuff. We used all our administrative funds this year. July 1, I'm going to start talking to Doug and the HR department to really get someone, because it's apparent, and I see why Derek struggled with it and why I'm struggling with it. It's just time disappears, and all of a sudden the next meeting's here. So thank you. All right, so 92 Church Street. I put this on the agenda because I feel like I had to. We did get an application. It was a housing application to purchase 92 Church Street, which is, I guess, a rooming house. I'll pull up the email and tell the gentleman's organization here. I had it up. I had to change it.
All right.
Here it is. This is the application. It came from Caritas Communities. It was an ask for $450,000, and they wanted it by July 15th. And so I had a conversation about how CPA procedures worked and how it had to go to town meeting and all of that.
But you have a lockbox with some cash under your desk.
Yeah, hold on, let me write you a check. No, So they did, first thing I advised was like, to do anything to come before our committee, you need to submit a pre-application. I gave him a link to the form. He'd fill it out, and he started asking a bunch of questions. So I directed him, about what the town's goals were for housing and all that stuff. So I directed him to our assistant town administrator, Jen Constable, and they had a conversation. We had our emergency meeting in May, and then we decided as a group not to have our full May meeting, postponed to June. They said we would talk about it in June. And so I reached out for an update from Greg. I told him, hey, here's the agenda. Here's the agenda. You're on it. If you'd like to represent yourself, we'd love to have you. And he reached out. You can see that here with his statement. Go back. His response is here. Thanks for the follow-up. We looked at this one from a couple of angles and believe that in addition, redevelopment greater density makes the most sense for this aging property. However, Jennifer told me that the EPA has placed a moratorium on additional units in the town until sewer issues are resolved. She said it would take a long time given the lack of clarity around this and the lack of clarity around the time frame involved. We're not comfortable trying to build new affordable housing in the town of Rockland at this time. However, if you can provide me some details on the EPA's ruling, I'm open to revisiting the opportunity. Otherwise, sewer moratorium is going to block our progress. We no longer have this project under contract. It is listed on the open market and will likely sell to a for-profit developer. Signed, Greg Richin, Director of Real Estate Assets, Caritas Communities Incorporated. I responded saying that EPA ruling is not my area of expertise. Sorry, I'll read your statement tonight at the meeting, which I have. Jen Constable added, Greg and Steve, I'd like to provide some clarity regarding my discussion with Greg and new development in Rockland at this point in time. As noted, Caritas Communities indicated they were looking to develop and or redevelop in Rockland, specifically noting potential redevelopment and build out of the Church Street site. I informed Greg that the town is currently under an EPA administrative order dated September 29, 2006, that the Rockland Sewer Commission has instituted a connection moratorium, which remains in place. Unfortunately, there is no definitive timeline associated with lifting the moratorium. Please reach out with any questions. So that was 92. I don't think we need to have a conversation about that. If someone has any comments, by all means. But I did feel because we received an application, we did have to address it at a meeting. But since he's withdrawn it, there we are. Just taking some notes. If anyone has any comments, go ahead.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Hold on.
I don't understand what's so special about 92 Church Street that we would buy it, but that's just.
I guess it's a rooming house. I didn't know that. It's the last house on the corner with Church and Howard. You're coming down Church toward Howard to the left. And I guess it's a rooming house. There's an opportunity for a permanent, affordable housing restriction.
It's a boarding house for men.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I learned something new.
It's a meth den.
Oh, we're recorded, by the way. Moving on to Copley Gardens update. I just wanted to give an update. We got the funding requests for their grant. Town attorney drafted a boilerplate grant that is in. We gave that over to NeighborWorks for them to review. They asked for 2 weeks. If they approve it, it'll be executed by the town. We already approved the funding, so there's nothing else we have to do. I wanted to give an update on that, where that stands. Really hoping to get it all lined up ahead, just before our new fiscal year, so we can disperse the money as soon as we're able. I know we're getting late, so we can table this one till next month if you guys want. I'll entertain a motion to table available funds review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Joe, I,
I,
Pete, aye.
6. Funds. Steve. Steve. Unanimous. All right. Other project updates? Anyone have any big hitters? Otherwise, we can move on.
good news on Reed's Pond. The lawyers finally get together and it's going to the State House for approval. So I just heard that. I got a call from Doug this afternoon. So that was good news. Hopefully that won't take long in the State House. So that's moving forward.
What's going to the State House on that, Joe?
Pardon?
What is going to the State House on that? Like what piece of that is going to the State House?
Where they didn't have legal paperwork of running the cemetery. So all that had to be cleaned up because there was no documentation. So the town lawyer, her lawyer, finally got together and hashed it all out and got the paperwork all set, and it's going into the State House for approval.
And that's a prerequisite so they can break up the land?
No. Operation of the cemetery. So now the town hands a check to an entity, company, or whatever you want to call it, caretaker. I don't know all the legal terms, sorry.
Right, but this was required in order for us to move forward with purchasing land from them. That is a trust, but the trust wasn't fully documented, is my understanding, right?
Correct.
All right,
So
first step in order.
So that's going into the State House now for approval. That's all I have.
Anyone else have any big hitters on projects?
I may be doing a phase 2 for the tramp house. Not as much money as before, but a couple things that we'd like to clean up on it. But that's not until the fall.
Okay. Nothing else, we'll move on. This is the one I really wanted to hit because if you've noticed, Derek hasn't been available. Thursdays are no longer good for him. We need to find an alternative standing date of the week, day of the week, for future meetings. I told him we couldn't do this one because we'd had it planned with open space for like a month and a half now. But for future meetings, and by the way, this is our last Zoom meeting because the state has not extended, to my knowledge, the remote meeting. So we will be on site at Town Hall going forward for these meetings. With that in mind, does anyone have, I mean, I guess we could do this in email, but I wanted to talk about it really because we've been standing third Thursday of the month. I think since this committee has been established, so wanted to kind of publicized. And we can work more via email because we can do that outside of the open meeting law. But wanted the public to know that we were moving away from the third Thursday. Any comment?
I'm pretty open any weeknight. So.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I was just looking Wednesday's probably better. I don't remember what Derek said. I mean, he seems to be the one with the.
Oh, I do have a response from Derek. Hold on. Pull that up. I'm going to stop my share though, just because I'm going to be going through personal email.
I mean, it would be what, Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Because we can't do Thursday and we're not going to do Monday or Friday, are we?
I can't do Mondays and Wednesdays for most of the year.
So, I mean, I don't have an issue if you want to do it Tuesdays. That only leaves Tuesday, right? So, we can, if everybody's okay with Tuesdays, then we can try to do it on a Tuesday and see where it goes. My biggest thing for me is just, obviously, I think for everybody, but it just has to be later in the evening as we have other things going on, so.
That out. I wish I thought to dig this out first. But if you guys don't have any real restrictions, I will share with you all Derek's preferred days and mine, and then the absent members can comment on theirs via email.
Because this is going to start getting busy with the applications, I believe.
Yeah, I think as the town starts to realize what, that we have a checkbook that is separate from the town, it's gonna, you're right. I think it's more and more people are gonna come. Let me dig that up. I'll email it out. Any other business not reasonably anticipated?
Did you have something on there about Copley?
Yeah, we talked about Copley Garden. It was just an update on their funding. There was boilerplate grant proposal that that Doug had the town attorney put together. It's in NeighborWorks' hands for their review. We will all need to sign that. So we'll hold it at town hall for a period of time to go up there and sign it. Or we'll bring it to our next meeting to be signed, but that'll be after July 1, but we'll figure it out. If we're going to do a signature page, you just need to go up there and sign it, but you'll just need to, I'll share it once it's in final form via email. You guys can review it. If anyone has any objection to it, I guess we would have to bring it to a meeting. But otherwise, we've already approved everything. The town's approved everything. It's just kind of a legal framework in order for us to disperse the money to a private entity, which without really invoices, because it's really the first grant we've given.
Steve, I'm gonna have to sign off real soon. I've got to get my granddaughter at the.
Yeah, we're done. So other business, I think that's it. Joe was asking for clarification. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
You're actually the first.
Yeah, I'll be the motion to adjourn on both of those last two.
Thank you.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
John, aye.
Pete?
Joe, aye.
Pete,
Thanks, guys. Pete, thanks for jumping on, making sure that we could have this meeting. Everyone else,
Yeah, no
have a wonderful evening.
You got, see ya.
Good night, everybody.